Wait, what about weird? Hi, I'm Elena.
And I'm Echo.
And this is What About Weird, a podcast dissecting all things weird from cryptids and aliens to strange science and unhinged history. I don't have any notes for I have some bullet points to help keep me on track. I don't have any notes for this episode, so this is going to be fun. This is a topic I could talk for hours about, though. And that's why I don't actually have any notes, is because it's something that I know a lot about. It's a topic that I've mentioned probably since we started the podcast. So today, we are finally going to discuss the Boohag.
I love the Boohag. The name is just so good.
Yeah, it is. So the Boohag is something that I first heard about probably in like 4th or 5th grade when we were doing like our units on local history. And for Halloween, my teacher was reading a bunch of like local scary folklore stories, and this just stuck in my brain. And then it stuck in my brain, and I sort of vaguely forgot about it until I came across a podcast episode a few years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, oh my God, I remember this thing. So for those of you who don't know, the Boohag is a sort of, best way I can describe it is a sort of sleep paralysis demon, but not really. Often described as a skinless, like raw flesh woman who will sneak into your house at night, and she will sit on your chest and drain your energy through your breath, leaving you tired and worn out. And she can drain so much of your energy that you will just die of exhaustion.
Damn. All right.
Yeah. It's fucking gnarly. So, you said you know some stuff about the Boohag before I, introduced it to people. What do you know about the Boohag?
Quite a bit, actually. I feel like I'm pretty familiar with the Boohag.
Probably just because I won't shut the fuck up about it.
That, and I also read some articles about it. Like, there was this one, might have been so it was some writing from 1883 where someone mentioned that there was a witch that would go around and she could, like, basically get out of her skin whenever she wanted, and you had to be careful when you were building your home, because if there was a crack in the wood, then the witch would be able to come inside and, like, sit on you at night and steal your energy. So it was like, build your home well, because if there's any cracks, the fucking Boohag is gonna slip in.
Yeah, and we'll kind of get into that a bit. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like how to protect yourself, and a lot of this goes back to some of the other stuff we've talked about with, like, thresholds, and when we talked in our superstition episode. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I will be talking about haint blue a lot. I hope you guys aren't sick of it.
I swear to God, the last 5 episodes you've done, you've mentioned haint blue.
I'm doing this episode to get it out of my system. Again, this is gonna be an all over the place episode because I don't really have too much notes. But, like you said, the Boohag is a witch, or often just a woman that can take her skin off and then would become this, like, skinless woman. And she'll disguise herself as someone in, like, the community during the day, often described as a very beautiful woman, usually someone who moved into town sort of out of nowhere. You don't know her, but she's really beautiful, moves into town, but she could turn out to be a Boohag. The story that I had heard, there was a man that he'd never really been interested in, again, this is the story that I had heard. He'd never really been interested in, like, love or marriage, and people are starting to, have some questions about him, until one day this beautiful woman, more beautiful than anyone he'd ever seen, came into town, and he was smitten and just fell for her immediately and asked her to marry him. And she was like, yeah, of course, I'll marry you. My one condition is that we can't get married in a church. let's do a courthouse wedding. And this man is like, that's a little strange, but whatever. I love this woman. She's beautiful. She's so sweet. She's so kind to me. She's a wonderful cook, and he'd never felt like this about any other woman. So they go and they get married. They start living together. And after a while, one night he wakes up in the middle of the night and rolls over and notices that his wife isn't next to him. And he, oh, that's a little odd, but she probably just had to go get a drink of water or something. So he goes back to sleep. And then the next night he wakes up again and she's not next to him. And he's like, that's odd. It happens a few more times. And then one day he's like, hey, honey, is anything wrong? Are you not sleeping well? And she's like, oh, I've just not been sleeping well. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. But it keeps happening over and over again until one day he gets a little suspicious and is like, okay, she's out of bed every single night. And she's not looking very tired, even though she's out of bed. And so he goes looking for her. And he's going up the stairs to the attic, and he hears her singing. She's singing a little song, and he peeks up. He doesn't really want to startle her, just wants to check on her. And to his horror, he finds her picking at her little fingernail, and starts pulling on her skin until it starts unraveling. She hooks it up to her spinning wheel and starts spinning it, and slowly her skin unravels like a sweater as she's singing. And so until she's left as this grotesque, skinless thing that's not his wife. He's so horrified, absolutely just horrified. And he rushes back to bed and jumps in bed. He's too afraid to sleep. And he's just like, I hope she didn't see me. I hope she didn't hear me. The next day, he's super tired and he's like, I don't know what to do. So he goes to the old wise woman in the town and is talking to her about I don't know what to do. There's something about my wife. She's like, I saw her take her skin off. I don't know if it was a bad nightmare or what. And this woman tells him, I hate to tell you, but it seems that you've married yourself a Boohag. And he's like, I thought those were just kids' story. I thought that was just a story to scare kids. And those were just folk stories. And she's like, no, unfortunately it's not. Have you noticed that anyone else in town is really, really tired? And he's like, actually, yeah, a lot of people have been so tired and exhausted that they can't leave their houses. She's like, yeah, that's what I thought. So she tells him what he can do is go around and paint every door and window of his house haint blue. When she's out at night, making her rounds, stealing the energy of people in town, he can do that, and she'll never be back. But if he really wants to get rid of the Boohag forever, he's to paint every single window and door, but leave one small little space, which, like you were saying, if there's a crack in your house, she can still enter. But leave one little space open and find her skin and fill it with salt and pepper and hot pepper. So he's like, okay, that's sounds like a plan, but why? And she goes, well, she needs her skin or else she'll burn up in the sun. If she doesn't have, if she can't get to her skin by daylight, she's going to burn up. And the salt and the pepper and the cayenne are going to make it so hard for her to wear the skin, so uncomfortable that she'll put it on and just run right out.
I feel like that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it is pretty fucked up.
I'm not sorry, but okay, here's my thing. So there were no problems in the relationship other than his wife was a Boohag, right? And maybe this is just me, but I don't think I have a problem with that. I'm sorry, but if we still have a really good relationship and I love you, I don't fucking care if you shed that skin at night. You do your Boohag thing, okay?
I think part of it was it's a story, so I don't know, but I had always taken it as he thought she was cheating and went and looked around for her and heard her in the attic and then was like, what the fuck is this thing? But I guess, yeah.
This is when you sit her down and you have a conversation, and honestly, I would rather my partner be a fucking Boohag than cheat on me. Bitch, I am glad you're not in the bed of somebody else. Well, technically you're in the bed of somebody else.
Kinda. Would you count if your wife is a Boohag who goes out and they call it a Boohag ride when they sit on your chest, which, would you consider that cheating?
No. She's just feasting on their energy. Girl's gotta eat. Like, what do you want her to fucking starve?
Also, all the stories I've heard, she was like a phenomenal wife. She was making him great food. She was taking care of him. She was so sweet and nice. And he was like, I finally found someone who I like and who takes care of me. And now he's like, I'm going to burn her up in the sun.
And then just because she fucking sheds her skin at night and feasts on the energy of people, he's gonna literally fucking, like, burn her, like, stuff fucking hot peppers in her skin so she can't put it on, and then watch her fucking burn up in the sun. You know, fuck this dude. I don't like this story.
I'm starting to think that maybe you're a Boohag.
This is anti-woman, okay? This is, no. Fuck this dude, okay? Fuck this dude.
Okay. Fair enough. Maybe you'll change what you think when we get into how someone becomes a Boohag, or how, like, a Boohag is created.
Okay.
But, so she tells him, you know, put the pepper in the skin. It puts the pepper in the skin. Sorry.
So good. Okay, go on.
So I said that, and then I realized what I said. I'm gonna make that meme when we get off of this call, if I remember. It puts the pepper on its skin. But, so it'll, you know, she'll go to put the skin on, she'll be in pain, and she'll have to rush right out, and she'll just burn up in the sun, and then the Boohag will be gone forever. And she won't bother anybody else, because if this man just kept her from getting to her skin, she would move on and find another skin to take over and be someone else's problem. And so that's what this man does. He goes home, he paints every single window except for one tiny little window at the basement of his house. He leaves unpainted when his wife goes out at night, and he puts salt and pepper and cayenne in the skin all raveled up, and jumps in bed and hides and just starts hoping that everything's going to be okay. She's flying around trying to get into every single window. It's taking so long, and she starts freaking out because it's getting towards day. She goes into that smallest window, rushes upstairs, and she's in such a hurry to get her skin on, she doesn't notice all the pepper and stuff in the skin. She puts it on and just starts screaming in pain. The man's laying in bed, and he hears her screaming, and she just runs outside just as the day starts, and she burns up into the sun, and she's gone. So, he's fucking killed his wife.
Yeah, I'm not pro this man. I'm just saying, like, this is supposed to be a story, like, how to get rid of the Boohag.
But it's like how to murder your wife.
Yeah, but I don't know, I just feel bad for her because she's just trying to fucking live, you know? Like, she didn't have any choice but to, like, suck the energy from other people, like, shed her skin and suck the energy from other people.
How do you think someone becomes a Boohag?
I don't remember.
So, from what I understand, first, to understand a little bit about how someone becomes a Boohag, you have to understand a bit about the culture that it comes from. The Gullah people are a group of, is an African-American subcultural group from about just north of Wilmington down to about Jacksonville, Florida. So it spans that, and it's all along the southeast coast. And it's in a lot of ways, they're very similar to Creole, except with more English and Scotch-Irish influence as opposed to the Creole having French influence. And the Gullah Geechee believe that a person has both a spirit and a soul. The soul is eternal, and when you die, it goes to the afterlife. The spirit stays around to, you know, help out your offspring, your family, the people you care about. But if you're good, your spirit will be a helpful spirit that sticks around. But if you're bad, you're a bad person, you are are the type of person to drain everybody around you, you fucking murder a bitch, something like that, then, you know, your soul would go to hell, your spirit would stay around and turn into a Boohag. Also, I just want to put this out here, I am not Gullah Geechee, so everything I know is stuff that I've looked up If I am wrong about anything and somebody knows more, please correct me. But from what I understand, that's, and so that's how someone would become a Boohag. Also, side note, when I was researching this, I was looking a lot into Gullah culture, which is absolutely fascinating. But Gullah culture is, like, the Gullah Geechee people are part of the reason why we have most Southern staple foods. So, like hush puppies. Let's see, I have it written down. So, hush puppies, a lot of rice dishes, okra, collard greens, shrimp and grits, black-eyed peas, and Brunswick stew, just to name a few. Obviously, some of that also comes from Creole and stuff like that, but a lot of what you think of as, like, Southern food comes from Gullah Geechee and Creole, which is just fascinating. And researching this, I got really hungry. I researched it on my lunch break. I'd already eaten. I'm like, I'm so hungry. So I got home and I went and picked up food from the local barbecue place, and like on my way home, and I was like, just give me the collard greens, and they were out. But I got fried okra, which is delicious.
And so, the people that were Gullah Geechee, a lot of them practiced hoodoo, right?
Yes.
And which is not voodoo.
Voodoo. The difference between hoodoo and voodoo is an organized religion. Hoodoo is a folk practice.
Okay.
So a lot of people get them mixed up. And a lot of people just call any American, like, folk practice hoodoo. But it's not. Hoodoo is...
Yeah, totally different things.
It's specifically, like, a African American folk practice. So I think we talked a bit about it in our superstitions episode about what's become termed granny magic, even though if you call it granny magic, someone's Meemaw will metaphorically throat punch you. And people will call that hoodoo, and it's not hoodoo.
No, that's very different.
But you will find a lot of stuff about hoodoo if you do look up stuff about the Boohag. But so, yeah. So do you still like the Boohag after you found out that you have to be a bitch to become a Boohag?
Here's why I do. Because I don't necessarily believe that. Because when I was looking into the Boohag initially, when I started getting into, like, cryptids and stuff, there was some evidence to suggest that a lot of the Gullah Geechee practices empower women and they celebrate really powerful females. And so the Boohag was kind of meant to be really powerful, like the ability to break the patriarchy, bring men to their knees, feast off the energy of other people.
Boohags primarily target men, and a man who is a bad person can become, after death, can become a Boohag, but all Boohags are women. Does that make sense?
Yes, okay.
So, like, a Boohag will never take the skin of a man, but a man who has died, who had unfinished business or was a bad person, can become a Boohag, who will then take the form of a woman.
Is this a Pride Month episode?
It's a Pride Month episode! Accidentally. Also,
we love that.
A lot of folk practices are really heavy on, like, finding ways to empower women and stuff. And I'm not going to get on my witchcraft soapbox, but I think that's a big part of the problem that people have with, like, witchcraft and stuff. And especially, like, historically, is because it was a way for women to have some sort of power or to feel, like I've said before on the podcast, it's like it's a lot of spicy psychology and a lot of, like, I'm going to amp myself up. And I think a lot of men were like, how dare you amp yourself up and be proud of yourself and confident in yourself enough to get something done.
Well, and when I was looking into it, there was a couple articles that suggested that the Boohag started as not necessarily something that was evil. It wasn't always portrayed as evil in the lore, but it almost, like, warped into that from, like, the misunderstanding of the lore. And so there was, like, an article in the 1800s about this, basically, like, this elderly woman who was accused of shedding her skin and like shape-shifting, and like this man accused her of it. And it was kind of like tales of women at the time who were like Black women who had used hoodoo, and they were demonized for it, and they were like seen as witches or demonic and all of these other things. And then it kind of like morphed the lore of a powerful woman,
Into
maybe
an
like
evil.
yeah, into an evil thing. Because I think while the Boohag isn't necessarily good, like obviously you have to start out as a bad person to become a Boohag. I think once you become the Boohag, you're not
It's like a reset button.
yeah, you're not inherently evil. Like this is your rebirth, and now you're kind of almost doing the world a service by like, I don't know, sucking the energy out of shitty men. So I'm pro Boohag.
So I had heard the story I told you is how I had heard it roughly, but since looking into it, I have found stuff like you were saying of like they would, sometimes it was just like, I'm just going to go after everybody I don't like or everybody. But then sometimes it was more of like for lack of a better comparison, a Baba Yaga, sort of a figure of she could be bad, like she's doing good by, usually she's marrying a man that felt like an outcast and giving him a good life and like supporting him and stuff, and then would go after people that she would then go suck the energy of people that would metaphorically suck the energy of people around them. Like we've all had that person that we've like worked with or been friends with that we're like, I can't be friends with this person anymore. So, so I've heard some of that, but a lot of times if you look it up, it's just like evil witch, evil witch. But also there is a whole long thing with demonizing folk practices, twisting folklore of people that you don't understand, of like sort of if I remember right, like the Jersey Devil, there was history of something like the Jersey Devil in the area that was like a native spirit, and then they're like, that's the devil. And so many like white settlers were taking native folklore and going, demons, devils, don't worship that, that's evil. And so like the term black magic, which I am sometimes guilty of using that term because it's so much in our lexicon, but that term comes from demonizing Black folk practices.
Right. Yeah. And so because there's evidence, starting hundreds of years ago, that kind of play both sides. And so it's hard to know when you're looking into this stuff. Did the Boohag start out as evil? Did she go after everybody? Is this like, is it rooted in like demonic stuff? Or is it like the other side when you start doing research about it, where it's like, hey, maybe the Boohag isn't inherently evil, and maybe it is like pressing a reset, and maybe it is legitimately just like the demonization of these folklore practices, the demonization of religions we don't understand, the demonization of women, the demonization of cultures we don't understand, because like that has persisted throughout our history. And so, yeah, like you were saying earlier, if somebody is more rooted in this community, in this culture, and has like a better idea of how these stories started and like how you think this stuff should be portrayed, I think we would be so open to learning this stuff and sharing it on the podcast, because like we have such an outside perspective that we only know what we can research. And of course, we're always presented with these two different sides. We don't have like a direct line into that to really know.
I will say I did see some theories that people had come up with of this is a story as like a tell a lesson story that was like an analogy for the fear of someone coming from outside, because there's always someone that was new to the area that was coming in and getting married, or someone that like you think someone but they turn out to be a bad person, or like an analogy for that and this fear of stuff. And there's some interesting like cultural things I've heard, and I've read some stuff from Black scholars, and I've read a lot of stuff from white scholars, so take everything I'm saying with a giant grain of salt. But also, an interesting thing as far as like cultural stuff goes is the color haint blue that's often used to protect and ward off the Boohag is made with indigo. Indigo was a crop that the Gullah people, when they were taken as slaves from West Africa, were specifically brought over to farm. It was that, rice and cotton. And taking this thing that was used as like, you know, ripping them away from their homes and enslaving them in horrible lives and making them live this, like, forcing them to work, forcing them to be slaves to farm this thing, and then them taking this thing that they were forced to farm and turning it into something positive and like a protection thing. So I've heard some interesting theories about like the haint blue was used a lot as, you know, this is just one of the examples where it's used of them just trying to reclaim something as like a protective thing of how, or using what they had on hand, how like with like a lot, to use food as an example again, a lot of the food that we like now used to just be considered like waste whatever product. Like lobster used to be bycatch and it was for poor people to eat. Collard greens or like radish greens were stuff you just throw out.
Right. Yeah.
Like a lot of that stuff started from using what you had, and now it's such a staple. Like the haint blue is such a staple in the South. I mention it all the time. It's on like every other building, you know, even though we don't use indigo anymore. And like the food stuff, it's such a staple now. It's become such a thing.
Well, and I think a lot of people take it for granted. A lot of people, they look at this stuff and they're like, this is part of my Southern pride. I'm like, well, where the...
Don't get me started on that.
Where the fuck do you think it came from?
The people I see with pro-Trump flags, with like Confederate flags on their car that, you know, like when I was at the barbecue restaurant, I was picking up my food and there was someone with a flag that's like on their truck. They had a Confederate flag and it said, I am the proud grandchild of a Confederate soldier. Like, you're at a barbecue restaurant. Barbecue comes from Central American and Native American cooking practices. You're probably going to order collard greens, which comes from the Gullah Geechee. You're probably going to order something with corn, which comes from Native Americans. You're probably going to order all these things that I could keep listing stuff off.
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't white people stuff. And you're like, this is my white heritage. It's like, if you're so proud of your white heritage, like, I would say go eat potatoes, but potatoes are from Peru, so go eat some cabbage and fuck off. So much of Southern culture is ingrained with the culture of people of color. And I think it's very topical that we're recording this the day that we are, because we're recording this on Juneteenth. I think that's very topical. This isn't going to come out, obviously, on Juneteenth. But yeah, it's just like so many people will be the most racist pieces of shit. And then it's like so much of your culture came from not white people. Because you know what the white people did? The white people fucked off when the mosquitoes came out. And then it meant that enslaved people were able to keep practicing their culture, or were able to build their own culture more, even though they were hiding it in a lot of ways, because it, you know, they get beat to shit if they, you know, showed it around white people. They're hiding it. But the white people would leave like 3 other white people in control, and everybody else would fuck off when it's mosquito season because they didn't want to get malaria. So Southern culture it's not white culture.
Yeah.
It's not.
No. Yeah.
It has aspects of...
Isn't.
It has aspects of white culture, but it is not.
Well, and that is just kind of like, you know, when we talk about religion sometimes on this podcast, is like a lot of the things that like Christian nationalists are proud of, that white people are proud of, that Southerners are proud of, always inherently have these other factors from other religions, other cultures, like people who are not white, from immigrants, like people that like aren't from the cultures that these people expect them to be from. And so when you are like saying you have pride in all of this stuff, it isn't fucking white pride. It isn't fucking like Southern pride in the Confederate way.
Yeah,
You need to like dig a little fucking deeper and learn where this stuff really comes from.
I love being from the South, but like you said, not in a Confederate way. I love being from the South because I understand that banjos and guitars are originally African music. Most of the best music is, from Black musicians. The best food it's the combination of things coming together in this beautiful landscape that makes me love the South. People forget that. People will say, like, oh, the South is all racism and guns and the Confederacy and hating queer people. And it's like, I know so many people that are not that are so Southern. Like,
don't get me wrong, is there a fair amount of that, especially in today's day and age?
Yes, but you get that in fucking Ohio, too.
Yes, exactly. But I think when you really dig deep and you find, like, the pockets of the community that you want to be a part of, it is the most amazing community because it encompasses so many different people.
And it's
so many different cultures. Like, it really is a melting pot. It is like, especially in the South, it is like one of the biggest melting pots, and I think that it is made for it. It's why we have such like amazing stories and amazing folklore and legends and all these unique cryptids and all of this amazing stuff that we have, and the amazing food. It's just like a lot of the good parts comes from combining so many of these different cultures.
Exactly. Like, I heard it said once that Texas food is good, Mexican food is good, Tex-Mex food, who knew?
Exactly.
Like,
one time I went to this restaurant that was an Italian Mexican fusion, and it was the fucking shit, dude. Okay, I love fusion restaurants.
Yeah. Like, I've had some weird ass fusion restaurants though. They were just not it. But like, it's the combination that makes it so wonderful. And like, this may sound bad at first, but trust me, I'm going to come bring it around. I don't like when people move from other places and take their culture and whitewash over the culture that's already there. I don't mind if you're like, hey, this is the style of like brewery that we have in Washington State. I want to bring it. I'm moving to North Carolina. I want to bring this sort of style. That's great. Don't give me your fucking chain restaurants.
Yes, exactly.
Do not drive out the small businesses to give me a small business that is a copy paste of the same like hipster bar you're gonna find in Asheville, that you're gonna find in fucking LA, that you're gonna find in Washington State, in Maine, or like copy and paste the same thing over and over again. If it's like the same thing and then you're bringing other stuff, it's the combination that makes things wonderful. Don't copy and paste the same bullshit. Don't give me chain restaurants. Add spice to this. Add your own spices to this recipe that is this like where you're living, and it'll be so much better for it.
Yeah, I agree.
But I got a little off track with the cultural soapbox.
I think that was a good discussion.
I think it was good, and it's something that I've been feeling a lot of lately in this world, because y'all already know I'm a pissed off bitch at the world. I gotta vent sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
No, and we did in like the previous episode and in this episode, just because like, it's hard not to be thinking about this stuff fucking constantly.
Dude, it's so funny
because like it just makes me want to scream at people. Like, how do you not fucking understand?
I know. And it's so funny because we started this podcast as like I want to talk about fun stuff and I want to have like an escape from life. And then I feel like so much stuff we'll write about that I think is fun, and then we'll start talking about like this one of like, oh, by the way, this food comes from this culture. And then we're like, fuck white supremacists. Or like, you know, the Warrens episode. I was like, this is going to be fun and silly, and I'm just going to get upset about the Warrens. And then I was like, there's a lot of people that are still like this. Or like Jonestown, we're like, this is terrible, but at least it's not what's going on now. And then we're like, fuck, our country is run by a cult leader.
Yeah, literally.
You know,
when we started the podcast, I knew that I was gonna like, you know, have like fun little episodes about fungi and just be able to talk about the stuff that I thought was funny and
then
fun
every now and then do like a intense one.
I did know going into this, I was like, if I start a podcast, I am going to use it as a platform to speak about the shit that 100%. I believe in, and I'm probably gonna fucking do it a lot because I can't fucking shut up about this shit. Like, I won't shut up about it.
Same. But it was just, I just think it's, you know, I also had the intention of like, well, I'm gonna have a platform, I'm gonna fucking use it, I'm not gonna be a bitch about it and be like, la-di-da-di-da, we're not gonna talk about anything that upsets anybody because we're trying to be liked by everybody. It's like, no, I have a platform, but it is kind of funny that it started out as like a, let's just talk about fucking putting a chicken to death because it laid an egg, you know?
Let's do this episode about a cryptid, and then for half of the episode, like, talk about, like, fucking raging cultural issues.
Yeah. So, let's get slightly back on topic, then we'll wrap this episode up. How's that sound?
Yes, that's
Thank
good.
you for letting us scream. We love you guys. Y'all are amazing. So, how do you protect against a boohag? Couple of ways. There's obviously, you put haint blue around your windows on the top of your porch. And a lot of this is going to sound very similar to some of our other weird talks that we've done recently. It's something that's been on my brain. But you put the haint blue around your windows. You put salt over your windows or over your doors. You can put iron railroad spikes in the corners of your door. You could put a broom or a stick of thorns, a branch of thorns by your door. And the boohag will feel compelled to count every thorn or every broomstick or every broom
bristle.
What the fuck? Thank you. I was like, broom needle.
I mean, kind of.
I've also heard people put a handful of sand or gravel by their door or like rice because the boohag has to count it. Which, why does every cryptid just end up with OCD?
Interesting. Or like vampires, like,
yeah.
I mean, I've even heard like some werewolf stories where they do that. Like, there's so many things like that.
I love the fact that the Rougarou can't count above 13. Cause like you put 13 or you put 14 rocks on your porch and it'll get to 13 and have to get frustrated and have to start over, and it has to transform by day and it'll just sit there counting them over and over again and it wants to count all of them. Like, why does everything just have OCD? Is it just me? I will start I don't know about you. Maybe this is just like a me thing. Maybe this isn't. I think this is an OCD thing, but I'll just start counting shit that I don't need to count. So like one of my favorite things. No, I do the same thing. One of my favorite things to do when I'm stressed is I will count the seconds between each fire hydrant on my way home. I'll just be laying out, you know, I'm putting allspice in my pickles, and I could just throw a little handful, and I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4.
But you like count the shakes?
Yeah.
Anytime I'm shaking a seasoning into something, I count how many shakes I'm doing, as if like I don't have a set amount of shakes that I'm doing. Like, there's no reason
I just
for
do
me
it
to be counting it. Yeah, I count it anyway.
I will count, like, if I'm walking on a sidewalk, I'll count the spots between like the cracks of it, or if I'm on tile and I look down. If I have other things on my mind, I won't always do it, but sometimes I'll just do that of like, I count each tile I step on, and my brain is like, yes, give it to me.
Like, sometimes if I'm going up and down stairs, I'll just, like, count the steps for no fucking reason.
I love it. I love it so much. Are we both just boohags?
I think we're just fucking weird.
I think we're weird and mentally ill, but let's just tell everybody that we're cryptids because we have to count things and we can't be let into the house without being invited.
See, I don't think I'm any, like, one cryptid. I am my own cryptid. Like, I'm something completely fucking different.
Like how like the Jersey Devil is like one guy.
Yeah.
You're like the echo. You're just the echo.
The creature.
Yeah, the creature. So that is there anything else I'm missing as far as, let's see, you count stuff, the salt, brooms. Oh, Bottle trees, that's another thing. Just because especially if you use blue, because the blue and like light reflecting off of it will scare the boohag away because they think it's something moving or they think it's water. So that's another thing. And just regularly cleansing your house with some form of smoke. I've seen some things where it's burning cedar. I've seen some things where it's burning tobacco, obviously sage, all that stuff. But so that's just how you protect a bit against the boohag. You cannot protect yourself if you're a good person.
See? There we go. I believe the boohag only goes after bad people, and so just don't be a piece of shit.
I will say, one reason that the boohag stuck in my brain so much was because I'm a chronic nail picker. Like, I'll pick the corners of my nails and my hangnails. I'm doing it right now, and I need to not do it.
Or I've been doing it this entire episode.
But I heard the story of the lady, like, picking at the edge of her finger and unraveling her skin, and I was so terrified that would happen to me. And I heard that, and I didn't pick the corners of my nails for, 4 years. That was, 3rd or 4th grade, and I was well into high school before I started doing it again. And I need to stop, or I'm going to peel my skin off like a boohag. It's an issue. Parents, if you want your kid not to pick at their nails, tell them the boohag story.
Oh, no.
They'll have nightmares for the next 15 years of their life, but they're not going to pick at their nails. But yeah, that is all I have about the boohag.
Did you mention this one? I heard, cayenne pepper is the protection.
Yeah,
okay.
I mentioned that.
Did you list that one? Okay, I'm sorry, I missed
salt,
that.
Pepper, cayenne. I think I mentioned it when I was saying the stuff you put in the boohag skin. Pepper is a very common thing used for warding and folk practices and stuff, or driving something out. I know there's a thing that you can do that I've known people that practice all kinds of folk practice and witchcraft and stuff will do, where you take a jalapeno or some other hot pepper, you put someone's name in it that you're upset with or you don't want, someone you don't want in your life, someone who's wronged you, you write their name down, or you take a picture of them. You shove it in a pepper, you stick a bunch of pins through the pepper, and you yeet it into the woods. Or you just bury it.
That's funny.
If nothing else, yeeting it is very cathartic. You just huck it as hard as you can, and you're like, yeah.
I like the boohag. It's one of my favorite cryptids.
It's such an interesting story. It's very much it's sleep paralysis, but all the stuff that surrounds it is not sleep paralysis. It's so fast. It's such a fascinating thing, and you can go on so many different tangents. I've gone on so many different tangents looking up stuff about Gullah culture and Gullah history and stuff. But yeah, it's just something about it just really sticks in your brain, and I'm surprised more people don't know about it. I know our friends on Greg's Cryptid Corner did an episode on it on my request because we were talking about it a while ago, and I was like, you should do the boohag. I'm going to do it someday, one day. So, and I know we have a lot of the same listeners, so if this all sounds familiar, sorry.
Yeah. I think we did it from a different approach though. Because when they do stuff and when we do stuff, we both come at it from completely different lenses, and so it is legitimately worth it to view both. When we did the Mockingbari episode, Greg was like, you guys already covered it, I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, dude, fucking do it, because it's going to be different no matter what.
I love covering stuff that other people have covered. I just can't listen to the same an episode of something that someone's covered right before recording it because I'm afraid I'm going to steal their jokes. But I love hearing everybody's covered the Kelly Hopkinsville goblins, but it's so interesting hearing ours versus Greg's versus Cryptid Cocktail Party versus I think Believing the Bazaar did it, and other people have done it. It's so cool hearing, these are my theories. No, these are my theories. Well, here's some of the research that I found. Well, here's some of the research I found. Everyone adds different stuff to the conversation, and I love it. All that to say, go listen to them. They did a really good job. It was really funny. We said it the first time they were on our show, but you go to them if you want the laughs. You come to us if you want to go to class.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's... But I finally covered the boohag. I've been saying I do it for over a year, and I finally did it.
Man, there's
So-
still some episodes that I said I was going to do, like, when we started the podcast that I haven't done. Like, my episode list is so fucking long.
But yeah, our episode list is so incredibly long, but that doesn't mean don't send us your episode ideas. Because we did the one we've done ones that people have recommended.
And listen, you don't have to be sending anything of substance. You don't have to be asking a question. You don't have to be sending in a story. You don't have to be sending in a suggestion. Just email us. Like, I want emails. I just want people to reach out.
Tell us about one time you had really good barbecue in Wilmington. I want to hear about it. I go to Wilmington.
Like, I just want people to reach out. Like, I want to know what you appreciate about the podcast so we can do more of it. Like, don't be mean, but I also want to know, like, what you don't appreciate about it. So
yeah, we can't improve if you don't tell us.
Yeah, like, I want to connect with our audience. So, like, if you want to reach out, email us, please. Like, we don't get very many emails.
Yeah, both of us, well, we get a lot of spam emails.
That's true. And we're both pretty busy, so we don't respond. It's not because we don't like you. It's because we're busy, but we will get back to you, and we will be very excited about it. Trust me.
And I get so excited. I tell Echo every time we get a message on Instagram. I'm the one that runs the Instagram, if you haven't figured out by how bad the spelling is on it. But I get so excited about it when people reach out to us. It's so awesome. And I have notifications turned off, so I'm not spending forever on Instagram. But I'll see it. I check it semi-regularly. So reach out to us. Tell us you love us. Tell us your go-to ice cream order. I don't know.
Send pictures of your pets, please.
Please.
Yeah, we really want those.
I love seeing everybody's pets. Or just, like, we have a friend now because someone started sending us memes of critters. Shout out Bridget. You're fucking awesome.
Dude, we fucking love Bridget. She's the best.
Keep up with the critter stuff. Oh, speaking of critters, we have new stickers coming. They should be coming sometime when I'm recording this in the next week or two. We should have them by the time this episode is out. I will post it. But one of the stickers is the marbled salamander with a little heart around it, and it says Certified Critter Lover. The marbled salamander is the state amphibian of North Carolina. But we have a couple more stickers coming. I'm making the Good Scrubbing Keeps the Ghosts Away sticker. We have a little stoner blue jay. We still have the other stickers. We have stickers, so they should be coming.
We have lots of stickers. We have so many stickers. If you want stickers, come get stickers.
Yes. I will mail them to you. Do you want to do the outro?
I sure will. Thank you for listening. If you liked it, please rate the podcast and share it with the weird people in your life. Follow us on Instagram at whataboutweird.pod, where we often share pictures related to the episodes. We are also on Blue Sky as What About Weird Pod. If you have any topic suggestions or personal weird stories, please DM us or email us at whataboutweirdpod@gmail.com.
And always remember
to ask about the weird.
Bye for
Bye
now.
for now.